In the NBA, there's always the decade-defining teams and the magic moments. The 50s, it was all about the Minneapolis Lakers and George Mikan and how people would be upset when the Lakers fell in the playoffs. The 1960s, it was the Celtics. And people were shocked when the Celtics lost the 67 Eastern Finals to Philadelphia. You got the 70s, you had like the Knicks every time they lost, or the Celtics coming back to prominence, or even the Milwaukee Bucks when Kareem was there. In the 1990s, you had the Chicago Bulls and the shock when the Bulls did not win a playoff series. Although, to be fair, in 94 they didn't have MJ. In 95, MJ was just half a season through and couldn't go through. The 2000s, every time the Lakers or the Pistons fell in a playoff series, you were shocked. And in 2010s, it was the Miami Heat or the Golden State Warriors. With that in mind, we're talking about the LA Lakers in one of the most regretful playoff series losses in their history in the 1980s. This is a story about the 1986 LA Lakers and how they lost to a ragtag Houston Rockets team. We're playing basketball Sims. We're playing basketball Sims. He's playing What If NBA. Cutter's doing What If NBA. Yeah. Oh, all the teams around the world got to know that the Raptors are number one. But what about the Bulls, Wizards, and Pistons? They all have great what ifs. Stories about old teams like the Kansas City Kings and maybe even the Minneapolis Lakers. But we all know we're going to do some basketball. He's doing basketball. He's doing basketball. What ifs? Cutter's doing what if NBA? So what if NBA? So the story about the LA Lakers starts off with the Minneapolis Lakers. And there's no what if about the Minneapolis Lakers, so everything will be added in. So the Minneapolis Lakers were the first super team in the NBA's history. In the 1950s, they seemed to have everything together. With Fern Michelson, Jim Pollard, a few other players I can't name off the top of my head. They had a young Elgin Baylor. They had a young Jerry West with them and a young Happy Hairston. But of course, everything went to the first major superstar in the NBA, George Mikan, the 6'9" sorry, or was he 6'11"? I think it was like 6'9" or 6'11". But anyway, George Mikan played the perimeter. He played underneath the basket perfectly. He was a giant of a man and all that. Bull and George Morrison, among others, would be laughing at him. But the fact of the matter was that George Mikan made NBA change the rules, like widening the lane, meaning that he couldn't be in the lane for more than 3 seconds, and basically banning his dunks. And it helped that George Mikan wore glasses. Unfortunately, the city of Minneapolis had problems with finances, and despite having great teams in the past, they had to sell off. In fact, the Minneapolis Lakers almost ceased to exist in 1958 when there was a plane crash. Fortunately, though, no players or anyone else were injured enough for that to happen to destroy the team. In the case of a team suffering through a plane crash, there would have been a dispersal draft. But fortunately, Minneapolis didn't have to. So they decided to move the team from Minneapolis to Los Angeles. It was strange because they kept the name Lakers because, Minneapolis is the land of 1,000 lakes and all that. And Los Angeles, what lake is in Los Angeles? Nevertheless, the Lakers played in LA and they started becoming good. A couple years after their move from Minneapolis to LA, they got to the finals, took on the Boston Celtics, and forced a game 7, where they had a chance to win. And Frank Selby, who scored 100 points in a college game in 1954 for Furman, had just hit his short jump shot. The Lakers would have been world champs, and the Celtics streak would have ended at 3. Unfortunately, though, he screwed up, and the Celtics won in overtime. Jerry West would bug Selfie about it for time after time, like maybe playfully, maybe not. Nevertheless, the Lakers grew from it. They had Elgin Baylor, they had Hot Rod Hundley, they had Jerry West, they had some great players and all that. But the Lakers just could not win a championship for the life of them because the Celtics were always in their way. The Lakers thought they were going to get the championship in 1970 when they took on the New York Knicks, but they fell in Game 7 despite Willis Reed not being 100%. Willis Reed was injured in Game 5, couldn't play Game 6, and the Lakers forced Game 7 at MSG, but Willis Reed took 2 shots, made them both, and it helped the Knicks out with their momentum. The Lakers would get a massive prize after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar refused to play in Milwaukee, saying it was too small of a market. He wanted to play in LA or New York. So LA traded him some players, including Junior Bridgman, who just passed away this year, 2025, to the Bucks. And it actually worked out. Junior Bridgman was a pretty good player for the Bucks. So anyway, the Lakers were good in the 70s and 80s. They got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had James Worthy. They got Byron Scott, AC Green, Sam Perkins, Vlade Divac, and a guy by the name of Magic. Yes, Magic Johnson was an LA Laker. And in his first game, which was actually televised by CBS against the San Diego Clippers. Yes, the Clippers were in San Diego at the time. The Lakers looked good. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hit a skyhook with 1 second left to win the game for the Lakers. So anyway, the Lakers in the 80s would finally get the monkey off their back in 85, the year of my birth, by taking care of the Celtics in the playoffs, finally. Despite losing Game 1 in what they call the Memorial Day Massacre, they actually won the series in 6. The Lakers would go on to do well in 1988, winning a title in Game 7, and then going back in 1989, but lost to the Pistons. In 1991, they got back, despite no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Vlade Divac being the center. But Magic was still there. Byron Scott and Sam Perkins were still there. And the Lakers challenged MJ and the Bulls, but lost in 5. Unfortunately, Magic would then retire because of the HIV virus. Fortunately for Magic, he's never had the AIDS epidemic. Well, the AIDS virus. So anyway, Magic actually did make a bit of a comeback for 1996 and all that. Nevertheless, the Lakers would struggle without Magic. Fortunately, though, in 1996, Jerry West, who was the general manager of the Lakers, managed to sign Shaquille O'Neal to a massive free agent deal after he left Orlando. And also, he managed to get Kobe Bryant. Although the Hornets drafted him first, well, they drafted him 13th overall, there was a deal in the making for Charlotte to trade Kobe's rights to the Lakers for the one of Vlade Divac and some other player. I can't remember who it is. Nevertheless, Shaq and Kobe were good. The Lakers in 2000 finally came back to prominence and all that, winning 3 straight titles. Unfortunately, Shaq and Kobe were kind of not good together and all that. And Kobe was vilified for being allegedly involved in a sexcapade with a female motel worker. Fortunately for Kobe, he got off because the complainant refused to testify. I think she probably lost her story or something. Nevertheless, Shaq and Kobe were no more. And they basically gave an ultimatum to Jerry West. Get rid of one of them. Jerry decided to keep Kobe and get rid of Shaq. So Shaq was traded to Miami, and lo and behold, he ends up winning the 2006 NBA title. The Lakers, of course, in 2004 imploded with Shaq and Kobe. The Lakers were pissed off. They did win in 2009, thank goodness for that. But, maybe they traded the wrong person. But, you're going to keep Kobe Bryant. Kobe was a legendary Laker, and in his final game in 2016, he put up 60 points against the Utah Jazz. It was magical. The only problem was that was the same night as the Golden State Warriors winning their 73rd game of the season to break the 96 Bulls record of 72. Nevertheless, the Lakers had Kobe, but then 4 years later, they lost Kobe in that air crash in mid-January 2020, which was a harbinger of things to come because, COVID ruined everything. The Lakers did win the 2020 championship in the bubble, which was good. Now the Lakers have their own problems. They have LeBron, but he just can't get through to his team. And worst of all, the Lakers made a massive move, trading Anthony Davis to Dallas for Luka Doncic. The Mavericks fans have been really furious at management for getting rid of Luka. But they do have the number 1 draft pick. As of this taping, the Mavericks won the draft lottery, so they'll get Cooper Flag. And be careful how you say the last name. So maybe he'll help Dallas get out of the doldrums. Nevertheless, the Lakers should be able to do okay. They're in Tinseltown. They look good. So anyway, let's look at one Lakers team that didn't make the finals that should have made the finals. And that's the 1986 Lakers. So the 1986 Lakers, this was the 40th season of the franchise. 30th in the NBA because they were in the NBL, and then their 26th season in LA. They were the defending champs, finally beating the Celtics in a series. They had lost 8 straight times in the finals to the Celtics. Unfreaking real. And the Lakers looked to repeat as NBA champions, but somehow lost to the Houston Rockets in the conference finals. But the joke was on the Rockets because they lost to the NBA finals to the Celtics. In 1985, they made one pick, and that was from Oregon State by the name of AC Green, who I believe still has the record for most consecutive games played, doesn't he? Yeah, 1,192 games, which is amazing. Regular season's 82 games. So for 10 seasons of playing every day, that's 820. That's more than 300 behind that AC Green thing. Anyway, the 86 Lakers had Kareem at center, Michael Cooper from New Mexico, AC Green there, Petter Gudmundsson from the University of Washington. I feel like he's from Iceland. Gudmundsson. Magic was playing Mitch Kupchak from North Carolina. Mo Lucas. I thought Maurice Lucas was the guy from the 1960s who was on Rochester, but I guess not. Mo Lucas. I think that's his son. Mike McGee from Michigan. Kurt Rambis from Santa Clara, the tough guy with the goggles. Byron Scott. No, wait, Rambis wore glasses. Anyway, Byron Scott from ASU, Larry Spriggs from Howard, and James Worthy from North Carolina, who was MJ's um, teammate. In the regular season, Mo Lucas made a 60-foot shot at the buzzer to send the game to overtime. And remember, those were three-pointers. Lakers started out 19-2. They lost to the Celtics in a massive matchup. And then the Celtics kept everything going. The second matchup between the Celtics and Lakers happened on a Sunday afternoon on CBS in Los Angeles, but Boston won the game. Lakers nevertheless won 62 games and crushed the Pacific Division, winning by 22 games over the Portland Trailblazers. No team in the Pacific, Portland, Phoenix, LA, Seattle, or Golden State, actually ended up being above 500. That's how good the Lakers were. They were number one. They crushed Houston by 11 games for the conference thing. I thought Houston was worse than second in the conference because not. Denver third, Dallas fourth, Utah, Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio. Weird how San Antonio 12 games below 500, yet they won the eighth spot because Phoenix, Clippers, Seattle, and Golden State were all in the Pacific Division, and they all sucked. So in the first round of the playoffs, they take on the Spurs. The Spurs, well, they didn't have David Robinson or Tim Duncan on their team, and they crushed them like fine powder. In the conference semifinals, they took on Dallas, and they actually ended up winning the first two, but losing the next two in Dallas. Fortunately, though, they won the next two and did their job. And in the Western Finals, they beat Houston on home turf on CBS. It had to be CBS because a 12:30 p.m. Pacific time thing. And then they lost the next four, including game 4 in front of 16,000 fans at the Summit on CBS. It was weird how they would end up losing the game like that. But yeah, anyhow, Michael Cooper was named the Citizenship Award winner for Best in His Community. Magic Johnson and Kareem were all NBA first team. It was like, how the heck did they screw up? Yeah, and of course, this was the series in which in game 5, the game was tied 112-112. Hakeem Olajuwon got ejected, I think, for a fight. Or was it 6 fouls? But yeah, Hakeem was out of the game. And then Sampson, the other half of the Twin Towers, as they called it in basketball, with 1 second left, took what seemed to be a volleyball shot and somehow put it in the net. And Dick Stockton's call, if I can remember it, Sampson, that's good. The Houston Rockets are going to the NBA Finals. People were just shocked. And the guy laying on the floor in the Lakers uniform, number 21, that's Michael Cooper. It was like Ralph Sampson, of all people, send the Houston Rockets to the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. So, what would happen if the volleyball shot didn't happen, or practically if the Lakers had won and would face the Celtics in the 1986 rematch? Anyhow, the LA Lakers would take on the Boston Celtics. It would be a rematch if Houston was taken out and the Lakers did it. We don't bother the other conference as we always do. So, yeah, the Celtics would have hosted game one because of their record. And game one would have been a Lakers letdown as Larry Bird put up 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. So triple double for Larry Bird. And they don't lose at home often. Anyway, Magic, Worthy, Abdul Jabbar, Scott, and Lucas were your five main guys. With Michael Cooper, AC Green, Mike McGee, Mitch Kupchak, Kurt Rambis, Ronnie Lester, Chuck Nevitt, Jerome Henderson, and Larry Spriggs. Chime in. The Celtics 26 from Larry, 16 from DJ, 16 from McHale, 15 from Danny Ainge, former Blue Jay, and Robert Parrish, scoring 6 points. Nevertheless, they had Bill Walton. Yeah, when he was healthy, he was good. Bill Walton, 9 points in 12 minutes. Scott Wedman, former future Bull, I think, and Sacramento King. David Thirdkill, what a name. Jerry Schichting, Sam Vincent, Rick Carlisle, future NBA coach, Greg Kite, and Sly Williams. In game two, the Lakers were close. They lost to Robert the Chief Parrish's 22 points, 15 rebounds. The Lakers looked good for a little bit, but then the Celtics reminded them that, of them. Byron Scott put up 25 points. Magic only had 19, Kareem 18. Bench wasn't really much. Boston 25 from Larry, 22 from Parrish. The bench wasn't really that good either. Oops, sorry. That doesn't count because it's supposed to be in Los Angeles. Game three, the Lakers won at home. Magic, 26 points, 14 assists. Larry put up 33 points. Pretty good, huh? Change only 9 points. He fouled out with 6 fouls. Robert Chief Parrish fouled out. So the bench had to be used. Rick Carlisle got 4 fouls. The Lakers, 26 from Magic, 20 from Abdul Jabbar, and 24 from Worthy. Cooper put up 10, Kupchak 9, AC Green with 9. So that's what happened. Game 4 ended up being a Lakers win, 115-106 as Magic, 20 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. Magic doing what he did best. So the Celtics, Larry Bird did put up 32, and Robert put up 19. Green 22, Magic 20. My Biggie had 11 points. So at 2-2, the Lakers needed to win game 5 on home turf. I think it was 2-3-2, wasn't it? Well, I think so. But the Lakers ended up losing the game 5. So Boston winning the pivotal game 5 in LA. Larry Bird, 27 points, 8 rebounds. So yeah, Lakers thought, okay, as long as we win at home, we'll be okay. But unfortunately, the Celtics win game 5, 119-107. Larry with 27 points. Larry Legend. 9 points from David Thirdkill. 25 from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 23 from Worthy. Not enough. Michael Cooper, 9 points in 23 minutes. Their bench wasn't much. Game 6 in Boston saw the creation of the Boston Celtics losing. The Lakers win. Magic, 19 points, 11 assists. So unbelievably, Magic and the Lakers won game 6. So they forced a game 7 back in Boston. Barnes Scott only had 5 points. Mo Lucas had 16, even though he had 5 fouls. Yeah, Mo Lucas was a legend for the Portland Trailblazers. I have to figure it out. Yeah, Jack Twyman. Oh, it's Maurice Stokes. That's it. That's the name. That's why I got the names mixed up. 23 from Robert Parrish, 16 from Larry Legend. So game 7. Who wins? The Lakers don't. The Lakers thought they had it, but the Celtics win in the fourth quarter. Larry Legend, 28 points, 10 assists. proving why the Celtics were one of the best teams around in 1986 and hadn't won and would not win a championship for 22 years. As the Lakers thought they had it, but the Celtics would have won Game 7 and get revenge for what happened in 1985. 21 from Kareem Magic only had 10 points. He had 16 assists. Mo Lucas would foul out. Cooper with 11 points, AC Green with 12 as a rookie. The Celtics 28 from Larry Legend, 22 from McHale. No Celtic had more than 3 fouls. So basically, they played clean basketball. The Lakers thought they would have had it, but the Celtics would have beaten them. Yeah, and the TV ratings would have went through the roof. Celtics Rockets were fine with the whole thing, but the fact of the matter was that everything would have went through the roof, and that's what you want. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.